The National Hurricane Center has dubbed that area bringing heavy rain to the Carolinas. It's also bringing tropical storm force wind and rough surf. That's the direction the rain is coming from. That's what will eventually send us a break to this pattern we've been so enjoying. But today, sun and high clouds. It's dry day number 9 of this stretch. Tomorrow, mostly dry as well, but we have more cloud cover and more humidity, so it's slightly less pleasant. Then by Wednesday is when the rain chances return to the region. It'll also be noticeably more humid outside. So enjoy the sunny skies and pleasant conditions while we have them. It's been such a fantastic stretch. That does continue today, but it also looks like it's the final day because tomorrow with that humidity and cloud cover, we're feeling the difference, mid to upper 70s for your Monday.
All right, Danny, thank you. Back to our top story this morning. Another assassination attempt on former President Trump. A second one in 2 months.
Yes, this one happened yesterday on the former president's West Palm Beach golf course near the 5th hole. A Secret Service agent suddenly saw a barrel.
Questions continue to circulate about Secret Service and the protection of the former president. Rolling here as the acting director Ronald Rowe arrived this morning at Trump International Golf Club to interview the former president. And we just heard from President Biden at the White House about the Secret Service and their ability to protect all the people involved in their detail.
I think we need some more personnel. I think they're deciding whether they need more personnel or not.
Are you something more?
So President Biden there saying,
oh, there you go. I don't know what was going on. Let's get to the press conference.
Sneaky. Chief of Detectives Daryl Simmons, as well as Deputy...
From the beginning here.
Homicide.
Okay. Start from the beginning. Start over.
Good
morning, guys. Good morning.
The task force does not forget victims, and we will not stop in our pursuit of justice. And what we want to do,
crazy. I lost
because
all my
it is our
windows.
mission, we need to get justice for the victims of homicide, in this case, as well as others. And just as importantly, we need to provide answers to the families of murder victims. So today we're asking for the public's help in identifying an individual who has been known as Asian Doe. They were found on Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach in 2011, and despite our best efforts, this person still remains nameless. And by nameless, I mean to us, to members of the task force. This person certainly had a life and loved ones and friends who knew them by their name. And it's important that this victim get their name back, and just as importantly, the people who cared for this individual get answers. So we are hopeful that with this new information and the community's assistance, we will be able to identify Asian Doe and bring a resolution to the case. Before I get into the meat of the press conference, I just want to thank the task force members who are here. Obviously, my team, Chief Investigator Rich Zacharis, and our ADAs and investigators and analysts. We have NCMEC, which is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I want to thank them for their assistance. They're not present at the press conference, but as you'll see, they were integral in with their assistance in this case. In this instance, we also have our partners from the Suffolk County PD, Commissioner Rob Waring. Actually, Rob Waring's to my left. He's sneaky. Chief of Detectives Daryl Simmons, as well as Deputy Inspector Sean Barron and their team of investigators. We have the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office. We have the New York State Police, led by Lieutenant St. Drew, and you're going to hear from Lieutenant St. Drew in a moment. We also have the FBI and their team. We thank them for their assistance. We have Senior Supervising Resident Agent Don Osbacher and some investigators on the Gilgo Task Force. We thank them for their assistance and for their presence. The Secret Service, we want to thank them for their help. They're not present at this press conference, but they've been helping with the electronic evidence. We also have received, in this instance, assistance from the New York City Police Department, who are not here. But again, we want to help. Thank the NYPD for helping us gain access to the significant Asian population in the city. Now, before I get into that new information, I just wanted to discuss with you all where you can find the visuals that have been provided to my left. The new information and visuals provided here today will be provided to the press. They will be posted on NCMEC's website and their Help ID Me Facebook page. And again, this is a place where members of the public can go and look at pictures and information concerning missing victims of crime and provide law enforcement with information. There's also a VICAP public webpage and law enforcement repository. VICAP is the Violent Criminal Apprehension Bureau, and that is run by the FBI, and so you could go on their website, provide information, learn information. And of course, it is available right now on my website, the District Attorney's website, as well as our social media. And this information includes updated forensic reconstruction images of Asian doe, which were provided by NCMEC, descriptions of the clothing of the victim, which he was wearing at the time of death, a picture of the various clothing labels of the clothes that were worn, new genealogical data, as well as information as to the victim's age, height, and gender identity information. Now, with regard to the initial investigation in this case, the remains of Asian doe were discovered on April 4th, 2011. They were found, the skeletal remains were found on Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach in New York, I believe found in between closest to Megan Waterman. The initial examination revealed the following. The victim was a biological male of Asian descent. The victim was between the ages of 17 and 23. So there, he was a teenager or very young adult when the murder occurred, and he was about 5'6" tall, give or take a couple of inches either way. Unfortunately, this victim suffered a violent death. The cause of death was homicide by blunt force trauma. We know the death occurred during or prior to 2006. And that those remains were on Ocean Beach for at least 5 years before being discovered in 2011. So the actual murder occurred based on the forensic examination of the remains in 2006 or earlier. Some of this information is being released for the first time, specifically the descriptions of the clothes that Asian doe was wearing at the time of death, and that although Asian doe was a biological male, Asian doe was wearing exclusively women's clothing. He was wearing a Chrysanthemum brand blue-ribbed short-sleeved shirt with a crew neck, size large. He was wearing a Raffaella brand shirt, size 10, and he was wearing a pair of women's pants and a bra, both by the brand Bill Blass. And with regard to the forensic reconstruction images, the task force was able to work with National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, and a forensic artist examined the victim's skull to create the facial reconstructions that you see here. And those reconstructions depict what the victim may have looked like prior to their disappearance and murder. We have two pictures of a person with short hair, one head on and one in the profile, and we have a third picture of an individual with long hair. Because the victim was wearing exclusively women's clothing at the time of death, it is possible that they identified as a woman or were known by others as being a woman. The Gilgo Beach Task Force also utilized genetic genealogy to learn more about this victim's specific ethnicity. It was previously known that this victim was of Asian descent. However, now we know that it is a strong likelihood that the victim is of Southern Chinese descent, Han Chinese descent, and Han Chinese is one of the 56 officially recognized ethnicities in the People's Republic of China. This is a significant development because Unfortunately, South Asia is underrepresented in our genealogy databases, meaning there are not a lot of Asian profiles in the database. Therefore, investigative genetic genealogy in this instance is a challenge. It's a challenge to identify this victim, and so far it has proved to be difficult and has provided few leads. Hence, the purpose for us being here today. We're looking for the media's assistance, and we're looking for the public's assistance in helping us provide information on this victim to get this victim's name back. And I'll just come over. These are the pictures of the individual. We have a picture of Asian doe with short as they would appear with short hair, and a picture of Asian doe as they would appear with longer hair. Now, with regard to outreach to the community, again, we've leaned on all our partners as we always do, but particularly in this instance, the New York City Police Department and the state troopers. We've asked for the NYPD's assistance in translating this flyer into Mandarin, into Cantonese, into Thai, and into Bahasa, which is an Indonesian language. And the NYPD will further assist in distributing flyers on the ground in the Asian communities across New York City. And again, as we know, there's a significant Asian population in New York City, so we thank them for their help. We've invited several Asian media outlets to be present here in the hopes that they can reach the Asian community directly and provide this information to those communities. Regarding our goals for doing this, this is a call to action. We want to enlist the public's help in trying to identify Asian doe.
Thank you,
with regard to the translations, we hope that the public and the Asian media outlets will further assist us in translating and disseminating this information into additional Asian dialects, which will further aid in the process of identification. Again, this person had a name, this person had family, this person had friends. We're reaching out to anyone who might have known this individual to help us with that identification. Again, I would just add with regard to DNA databases, those who would like to help identify Asian doe or any other victim or missing persons in the Asian or any other community to help, you can upload your DNA to Family Tree DNA and into GEDmatch Pro and opt into law enforcement matching. Contrary to popular opinion, law enforcement doesn't have access to all DNA databases, and this identification, this IgG technology that we use, as you can see, we don't just utilize it to identify suspects, we also use it to identify victims and to provide closure to the families of missing victims. If you really want to help, please consider uploading your DNA profile into those 2 commercial databases, which allow law enforcement to access that information, but only with the consent of the consumer. Now, third, we ask that if you were around in the late 90s and early 2000s, think about the people you associated with. Think about the people you know. Did anyone of Asian descent go missing? We believe Asian doe may have been working as a sex worker around the time of their disappearance prior to 2006. We believe that they spent some time in New York City prior to their death. And we want to urge the public, don't discount someone just because you know them to be from somewhere outside of New York City. As we know, people often come to New York City for a myriad of reasons. Prior to 2006, this person had friends, possible classmates, or co-workers, and a family. Someone knows who this individual is, and we need that person or persons to contact us. So that's what we're asking. Again, with the help of the media, let's get these photos out, let's get this information out, and let's identify Asian doe. Crime Stoppers is offering a $2,500 reward for information leading to the identification of Asian Doe. Anyone with information regarding this case or the identification of the victim is asked to contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-220-TIPS, TIPS, or via email or the mobile app on the flyer. You can do so in your native language. Translation services are available, so if you have difficulty with the English language, but you have information, provide it to us in your native language, and we will translate it. Again, please share this information far and wide, and let's help get this victim identified and give this victim their name back. Prior to taking questions, I'm going to turn it over to the New York State Police. We have, as I've said, we've had Lieutenant Richard St. Preux, and he is going to introduce the Mandarin translator. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Good morning. I'm Lieutenant Richard St. Preux with the New York State Police. I cover the Bureau of Criminal Investigation. I'm introducing Trooper Shin Song Lee, who will be translating into Mandarin.
All right, guys. So John Doe identified, well, not identified, they're trying to identify. I've heard about this John Doe for quite a while. And I had heard the same thing about the whole, I guess maybe they identified as a woman and they were dressed up as a woman. And so, you know, I wonder if the serial killer Rex had confused this person, or maybe he knew, he knew and he was fine with it and killed this person anyway, like he killed the other woman, you know, one thing or another, you know, maybe he didn't know and he was surprised and enraged, or maybe he did know and he was into that and had no problem with it and then just killed this person like all the other people, you know. Today, what I'm going to do too, I'd like to in a little while, I've started collecting some stuff. I'm going to update the Trump shooter stuff. We're going to do some coverage in a while. I have to gather a few more things. I don't have any notifications on the main, but I am going to go live on the main in a little while. And what I plan to do is drop some videos, short videos, if I can today, on the political channel, just the short tidbits after the live. I'm going to drop on the political channel and maybe even on this channel, the second channel, until we have some notifications later. And and that'll be it. I mean, I saw something interesting too, but I have to skim it because I don't know if it's interesting or not. I don't want to drag us through something if I don't know that it's interesting, you know. So I'm going to take a look at this other situation.
Thank you, Lieutenant, and thank you, Trooper Lee. With that, I'll open it up to questions. Does anybody have any questions? So, you know, we have a bail document which details some of the internet searches done by the defendant, and some did contain searches using similar terms that you just described. Anything else? So yeah, it's a violent death, blunt force trauma, which led to the individual's death. So this was a violent assault resulting in the defendant's death.
District Attorney, is there anybody, like a forensic scientist or someone who can speak to the difficulty of bringing this image?
No, we don't have anyone there. But basically what it is the forensic anthropologists, forensic artists. They start at the skull, and then using the characteristics of the skull, they essentially create, and using their training, of course, they create the diagram of the individual. So we believe this is the most accurate possible depiction of the victim.
And the language that the trooper was
that was the language that the trooper, Cantonese? I'm sorry, Mandarin.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think you never say never. We've seen the way that the DNA technology has evolved. So we do have DNA, and so we're working with it. I'll get you in a second.
How rare
is it for somebody not to be identified for such a long period of time that, no one has come forward and said they think that it's, in your career, how rare is that?
It's not unheard of, especially when you're talking about, a crime of this nature, and when you're talking about a community that's an immigrant community that tends to be insular. So again, we think a lot of times, and again, this person we believe was brought from outside the jurisdiction into the jurisdiction. So when you combine all those things, it's not that unusual. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we send out the information far and wide, not just to Suffolk County, not just to New York, but across the country and across the world. Yeah, I'm sorry, Greg.
Were there any similarities in the way that this body was disposed of with those that were left nearby? And are you considering Rex Heuermann a suspect in this case?
So if you look at where it was situated, I think it was about 300 or so feet from Megan Waterman in that same stretch of Parkway. So it's between Megan Waterman and Jessica Taylor. And as we've said all along, each one of these these victims, it's a separate crime scene. Start from that separate crime scene and you work your way up, which we're doing. And it's all nice to speculate, but it basically doesn't matter until you can bring charges, and we're certainly not at that stage. Well, I think probably what you're referencing is specifically with regard to the Gilgo 4. Those were uniquely, they were almost identical, and they're, unique from the other bodies. There's always evidence at the scene, and we're analyzing that evidence, and if it bears fruit and results in charges, we'll talk about it at that time.
Mr. Chairman, when you talked about how this was found for clothing, and you talked about the other things that go before, was there any other material, not burlap, or anything else, a sheet, a pillowcase, anything at all that was found?
I'm not entirely certain. I know specifically that this victim was clad in the clothes that we've described. I don't know what that means. We start from our victim. We start from our crime scene. We work our way out, and we don't talk about it until we're able to charge someone.
So to clarify, you said you're testing other evidence from the scene. Is there other physical evidence suggesting somebody else at that scene?
There's always physical evidence, and you work through the physical evidence. You utilize the various modalities. Those modalities are changing, evolving, so it's a continuing process, and until that process is complete, you don't discuss it. So we're not at that stage where we're prepared to discuss it, but there's always a myriad of physical evidence at any scene. It's just whether or not it's relevant or not, or it's able to be tested.
Would you have to know the identity of this person to bring charges against somebody? In other words, if you found out strong evidence of a suspect in this case was at the scene, and you still don't know who this person is, could you charge somebody?
Yes.
Was he wrapped in burlap? Was his head separate?
He was not wrapped in burlap.
You didn't know that?
Nope.
And what about internet searches from Heuermann? Did any searches correlate to maybe this victim?
Well, I would just ask that you look at the bail document, because we have a number of searches with regard to searches that could arguably be related to this victim, as well as the Gilgo Beach investigation and the discovery of bodies on Gilgo in general. Sure.
Does it make it more difficult to identify someone if they are male and identified as female? Does that tend to make it more difficult for people to know that someone?
Well, it's the public, and some, I think when you talk about, immigrant communities from outside of Suffolk County and a body found inside Suffolk County in general, you wouldn't be all that surprised in having difficulty to identify this particular victim, and then there are all those other factors as well. So not completely unsurprising that we've not been able to identify the victim, but the most important thing is that we identify that victim regardless of the outcome of any criminal case, just to provide that victim and their family with, give the victim his or her name back and provide the family with closure.
You said you believe this person may have spent time in New York City. What was that belief based on?
It's based upon our investigation, which I'm not going to get into.
Why now? Why are we hearing this? Because the forensic anthropologist just gave these renderings and we had them for a while. What's the time?
Yeah, these were done through NCMEC, and that was a fairly involved process. We really appreciate their assistance. Obviously, it's a painstaking process, and it took some time. So, once we had the information available, and also the DNA, the specific genealogy DNA, we wanted to provide it to the public because we think it'll help the investigation and help to identify this individual. Okay. Thank you all so much. Thanks for coming.
Okay. So they're trying to identify this person. They haven't been able to. Carly says she is in a Reddit group, and they've been trying. I guess they looked up all the missing persons and in that area, and no match. And so maybe the person was here illegally or something. Maybe that's why they can't identify them. That's a possibility. So, yeah. Anyway, just wanted to update that, but I am going to come back in a little bit, so don't worry. I have a couple of things I want to update with the Trump shooter, but I want to get it organized and make a nice little thumbnail. I started working on a thumbnail, so I will schedule that in a bit. And, yeah, no notifications, so I'll let people on Discord know, and I'll also send out an email blast, and, yeah, and then we'll go from there. But I hope you guys are having a good morning. Thanks for stopping by. Kentucky guy still not found. Yeah, I want to see too at some point if we can update that, if there's an update, if there's even an update on that, Kentucky shooter. Today, I don't even know what day is for the shooter. I know it's entering the second week. I haven't heard of anything significant with the Kentucky shooter, like a sighting or anything. Nothing. Oh, for Firefox. That's it, folks. That's all. I think it was an appeal to people. Of course, the next thing that plays for me is an airplane crash. Mayday air disaster. Oh, that was Peaches. Yeah, that was Peaches. The name, I think they went by Peaches, yeah. Peaches was decapitated? That's true too, April. Maybe they weren't accepted. 10 days. Oh, the other thing real quick too is I think I lost it when I deleted stuff, but oh, here it is. Convicted Long Island killer John Bitrolf calls on the DA to review case after Rex Heuermann charged an eerily similar killing. He's trying to say shit. Maybe he killed these people too. I didn't kill him. A Long Island man convicted of 2 killings in the 1990s is seeking a review of his case after alleged Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex was charged with an eerily similar homicide during the same period. John Bitrolf was convicted in 1993 of the murder of Rita Tangredi and the 1994 killing of Colleen McNamee is pushing an exoneration after Heuermann was indicted on the 1993 killing of Sandra Costilla, a murder Bitrolf was long suspected of committing. Interesting. His attorney, Lisa, called the crime scenes of the 3 murders eerily similar and asked the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office to perform a DNA testing on hairs found at Tangredi and McNamee crime scenes. Letters obtained by the Newsday revealed. She also asked the office for forensic evidence from the Castilla crime scene. Damn. All 3 women, Sandra, Rita, and Colleen, were killed within the same time frame. All 3 of them were found in a wooded area. Their legs were spread apart. Their hands were above their head, and they were missing 1 shoe each. Colleen and Sandra both had their shirts up over their faces, and the DA's office has also claimed that there were wood chips on all 3 bodies. Any logical person would believe one person was responsible for all 3 murders. District Attorney Ray Tierney, who was not in office when Bitroff was charged and convicted, denied the request. I've looked at those cases. If I thought that there was a problem, I would do something. Damn. Before Bitroff's 2014, Suffolk County investigators had long publicly said they believed the person responsible for the deaths of Tangredi and McNamee was responsible for the killing of Castilla Marcosia, who previously filed 2 unsuccessful motions to overturn Bitroff's conviction, sent Tierney a letter June 6, the day Heuermann pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder charge in Castilla's death. In the letter, she asked prosecutors to overturn records for Heuermann related to Castilla case, including forensic analysis conducted from Castilla crime scene and all the information obtained through devices that are relevant to all 3 slayings. After not receiving a response, she filed a second letter June 18th to prosecutors repeating her request and denied 2 days later by Assistant District Attorney Guy Andricono, Arcidiacono, who wrote that there is no basis on law or fact for providing these materials. So they're just turning them down. Heuermann was linked to Castilla through mitochondrial DNA testing on hair found at the crime scene, while Bitroff was linked to Tangredi and McNamee through DNA testing of semen. Oh, okay, well, there you go. In each of their bodies. Heuermann was arrested July 13, 2023 for the brutal slayings or killings of 3 women and was charged in the murders of 3 other women over the year. All right. I guess he was trying to get off. All right, so yeah, I'll be back in a bit. I don't know when, maybe an hour or so or something like that. I'm going to gather a few things, jump on the main page, cover some of the Trump shooter stuff, gather some updates. I already have a few things, but I want to organize it a little bit and some videos and information, and we'll do that. All right, see you guys in a bit.